It's been an incredible year of video games despite a few noticeable flops, and single-player experiences continue to be a part of the industry that pushes its boundaries in many ways. While there were some truly magnificent titles on offer, there were others that enjoyed their success rather quietly, but were no less enjoyable in the process. We're here to give them the spotlight that they deserve, and perhaps give you a great new game to pick up and play. Join us as we take a look at a few excellent titles that deserve your attention. There's something for everybody, and you're sure to find a title that joins your list of favorites. Blueprints. With a rather unconventional premise and a whole lot of entertaining puzzle adventure gameplay to stretch your brain power to its limits, this is a gem of a game that did not get its due in a year crowded with huge releases. But Simon P. Jones's surreal trip through the Mount Holly estate and the discovery of its story makes for an unforgettable adventure. If you enjoy solving puzzles and are the kind who doesn't like to leave any loose ends in their games, this one is going to have you occupied for quite a while. Dispatch. It can be jarring to be relegated to a desk job after an exciting stint in the field, even for the best of superheroes. But Mecha Man, aka Robert Robinson III, faces a frustrating twist to his career, and having to manage a team of reformed supervillains is the perfect recipe for a story that's told with heart and charm. A stellar voice cast elevates this experience, and Dispatch is a game that you enjoy from the very beginning right up until you navigate a roller coaster of decisions whose varying outcomes could have you wanting to dive back in for another playthrough. That's certainly a game that's easy to recommend. Tormented Souls 2. Caroline Walker, or Emma if you're familiar with this one's predecessor, just cannot catch a break. This sequel builds on the first game's strengths while telling a grim, chilling story about a cult that seems intent on continuing Noah's work. But Caroline has never been one to sit around and wait for fate to play its hand, and you're going to be navigating dark hallways and dangerous places with bated breath. This is an excellent horror experience that does well to bring forgotten genre trappings back with style. Keeper. It isn't every day that a game gives a lighthouse the ability to walk, and puts its player behind a character as unique as the one in Keeper. As the lighthouse, your travels aren't as lonely as they could be thanks to Twig, and the bond that forms between them as they tackle the scourge that's affecting their home is a lovely story. This one's bizarre premise lets its creators come up with some very inventive designs in their levels, and navigating its world isn't going to be easy, but we can tell you it is definitely worth it. Atomfall. An action survival gameplay loop set in an alternate post-apocalyptic version of the British countryside into a radioactive zone was always going to be a blast, and our time with Atomfall had us chuckling away at the humor that it managed to bake into its otherwise grim world. The story is definitely gripping enough to make this a rewarding experience, while the side content brings some top-shelf writing into the fray. This is a world that's going to be very worthwhile to those of you who like ferreting out secrets and leaving no missions incomplete. Kronos: The New Dawn. The Bloober team cemented its reputation as a talented horror studio with its take on a time-traveling survival horror adventure. As the traveler, every step you take into this game's world makes you feel the weight of its desolation, while its threats can have you missing perfectly aligned headshots thanks to their raw aggression and feral rage. However, for those of you who learn the art of survival in this bleak world, you get to find very creative ways to turn the tables in a deadly dance of tactics, strategy, and skillful shooting. It's a slow-paced ride, but a wild one nonetheless. Hell is Us. Although this one did gain a fair bit of traction, it can be hard to put the allure of a world that staunchly refuses to reveal its secrets to none but the most diligent of players into words. But Hell is Us does just that, leaving you scribbling furiously away at a notepad just so that you can get to experience all that it has to offer. It can be quite a disorienting experience at first, but the story and combat can have you quite invested. If exploration and lore hunting sounds like hours of fun to you, this one is going to have you very content with how it presents its best features. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Fast, stylish, and well-paced, Joe Musashi's battle against the E&E Corporation is a great game. The story moves along at breakneck pace, giving you new ways to dish out damage in your 2D platform adventure. Musashi's agility and the fact that the stakes are literally about life and death with a dollop of vengeance thrown in makes this a Shinobi adventure with all the good stuff. Just be ready to bring your best fighting skills to the table as you take on the ENE's hordes of soldiers, yokai, oni, and imposing bosses. Echoes of the End. Although Rin and Abrams' journey didn't get the start the developer Mirkur Games might have wanted, the studio has done well to release an enhanced edition of Echoes of the End as a free update, fixing a significant portion of its launch issues and making it a very enticing offering. The combat is now quite good, while the story has several great moments in the second half of the adventure. Stick with this one and you're going to find yourself quite invested in how things turn out. The Rogue Prince of Persia. If you're a fan of roguelikes, this one might be right up your street. Playing a prince who is on the run from an army of possessed soldiers is a great way to spend a few hours exploring well-designed levels with mechanics that are quite engaging. Evil Empire has done well to capture the look and feel of an action-adventure game, and you should definitely give this one a shot. Its recent Switch debut should see it get some well-served attention as well. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. The side-scrolling hack-and-slash spin-off of the popular franchise is definitely up there with the best ones of the year. Kinji Mozu's inspired effort to defend the Hayabusa village from demonic threats, leaving Ryu free to live out his legend in America, is a very entertaining take on the Ninja Gaiden universe. Its slick combat and challenging platforming make it a pleasure to play as well. This is a great choice for those of you who love to let your blades do the talking. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. If you're a Souls-like fan and have somehow missed this one from Linshi Games, it's worth checking out. Bai Wu Chang's mission to save her sister quickly turns into an exploration of sinister events against the background of a failing dynasty. That premise does very well to set up battles that can test your reflexes and ability to improvise in the field. Combat is an art in this game, and you're given a wide set of tools to use as you paint a bloody canvas to tell that epic story. Expect to be challenged, and this one is going to take your breath away. Shadow Labyrinth. Bandai Namco's refresh of the classic character was such a blast we almost forgot our initial skepticism of the entire exercise. The swordsman and Puck are quite a duo, navigating a treacherous world that leaves a very interesting trail of information about its history and its denizens. With challenging enemies and mechanics, Shadow Labyrinth is a game that has you always on the lookout for a detail that you've missed, and can take a long time if you're intent on teasing out all of its secrets. Eriksholm, The Stolen Dream. While it can be difficult to handle the emotional weight that this excellent story brings to the table, Hannah's desperate journey to rescue her brother and the people she meets along the way make this one a worthy addition to our 2025 list of underrated gems. This is a game that brings some great stealth mechanics in a world in which the shadows are your biggest strength, and a story that underlines the importance of staying unseen through the eyes of a young orphan. This one's a winner for all of you stealth nuts out there. Steel Seed. Bringing excellent stealth action, robust platforming, a dark sci-fi world, and a relatable protagonist and companion duo, there is a lot to like about Steel Seed. Although this one did draw a bit of flack on the critical front, its story and excellent world building are compelling reasons to dive into this title. Zoe's sassy yet earnest nature wins you over quite quickly, and her proficiency with her weapons make her fun to embody in this tale of redemption. Despite a relatively shorter runtime, the game has its charms, and the journey is definitely worth it. And that's a wrap on our best single-player sleeper hit titles that you might have missed out this year. Here's to a fresh new batch of winners as we look to 2026 and beyond. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Bolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.